Ah, going back to the roots of my channel. The topic that I'm going to be diving in today has been kind of prevalent on my channel for quite a long time, actually. But I actually stopped talking about it over kind of like a couple month period because at a certain point I gave up. I was like, you know what? There's no hope. And this is going to continue happening. There's nothing I can say to change that. However, it happened again. What happened? Market manipulation, predominantly on TCGplayer. Now, some of you that have been in this hobby for quite a long time, this is nothing new. This has happened time and time again. But for some individuals, they simply just can't grasp market manipulation. They just think people are just bitching for no reason. You know, they're just, mad that a card is expensive as usual. And under normal circumstances, there are a lot of people who do that, simply because a card is $1,000, they decide, oh my God, wait. There's a lot of people like that. And listen, I'm not one of those people. I think it's completely fine that there are cards that are very, very expensive. What I don't like, however, is cards that are artificially inflated by a group of people. You know who you are. This kind of sounded oddly racist. I didn't mean it like that. Moreover, it's also the excuses that people are using to justify the pumping of this card. Now, which card is it? You probably guys have guessed. It's in the freaking thumbnail. It is... Well, frick. I forgot to switch the goddamn screen. Hold up. The Seismitoad from the recent set Black Bolt, the counterpart of the new black and white set. The other one being White Flare. Now Black Bolt especially has been getting quite a lot of attention recently, and no, not just because there's a card that's freaking $450. That's craziness. But also because of this little friggin' bastard right here, Seismitoad, a Pokemon that everyone loves. It's a fan favorite. There's a huge fan base of Seismitoad. I'm being sarcastic. Nobody freaking enjoys Seismitoad. Okay, it's a little too far. There probably are some people that like Seismitoad, okay? It's foolish of me to say there isn't a fan base. There's a fan base of pretty much every single Pokemon out there. However, I can guarantee you, there isn't a large enough fan base to justify $230. Before I get into why I think this card is manipulated and, the evidence for that, let's dive into the excuse that people are using to hyper shill and inflate this Pokemon card. If we were to zoom in on the background of this card, you'll see that there is a suspicious number right there, okay? It's a not so good number for a lot of people in the US. I can't say for a fact that the artist intentionally tried to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but at the same time, I don't really care in all honesty. But a lot of people are saying that this card is going to be banned sooner or later because of the 666. To which I say, no, it's probably most likely freaking not. At the end of the day, that whole thing is just an excuse to continue hyper shilling and hyper inflating and buying out this card. This card didn't get to $220 because people are worried that this card is going to get banned, so they're trying to get as much as they can before it does. No, that's an excuse. The second excuse is the artist himself, Shinji Kanda. And if you guys didn't know, Shinji Kanda also did the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. And that became very, very popular. The reason why I do the air quotes, because I feel like a lot of people only like that card because of the price tag. But regardless, I'm sure it's a good looking card, in all honesty. I like it personally. I'm not going to pay that much for it. But I can understand the appeal Shinji Kanda as an artist has for a lot of people. He does great, fantastic shit. The problem is a lot of people are using this as an excuse or as a justification why this card is at this certain price. And I think that is completely bullshit. There's plenty of Shinji Kanda cards that he has done in the past that are not this expensive. If it was truly that he was a spectacular artist, then all those cards would be just as expensive. The truth is that you have a bunch of these coordinated groups or just simply standalone individual people who are constantly buying out and market manipulating these said cards. They don't give a shit about the artist. They don't give a shit about no 666, a potentially banned card. They do not care. All they want is to hyperinflate this card and then dump it once it gets to an all-time high. But you know what? Don't listen to what I have to say about it. Just simply look at the graph of this card. Now, I scrolled back down to the oldest sold listing, which was $50. Now, granted, that's kind of a lot of money still. $50 for an illustration rare? That's insane. But at the same time, at least it's believable, okay? It's in the realm of possibilities. Now, if you scroll a little bit up, you see instantly there is a $10 variant. That is just unnatural. No sane collector or investor at that is going to pay, what's $10 more, which is like 20% more than all the other listings prior. And by the way, these are all near mint, so it's not a condition issue where there's, the near mint is, selling for far more than, like, let's say light plate or something. No. This is $50 for near mint, and then somebody buys it for $60. Automatic red flag. No sane person is gonna pay 20% more. And then you have another red flag. It goes up to $75, which is a $25 increase right away. This means a group of people or even individuals were specifically paying a premium on this card to hyperinflate the price, to initiate some sort of FOMO. And as you see, they try to do it. It goes up to 70, and then it kind of goes back down to 60. Actual buyers were coming in and actually paying $60 for the card. They were not part of any group. And then if we keep scrolling up, 60, 60, 60, 60, and then, oh, wow, automatically another $75. Wow, that's crazy. Another 75, another 70, 70, 75, 75, 25, 25, go, go, go. And automatically $70 to $75 become the new price of this card. But no, it just doesn't stop there. And then automatically it goes to $95. Okay, $75 to $95. That's absurd. Again, no collector or investor is going to pay that much of a premium for a card. It keeps increasing, 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 and then it becomes slowly $100, okay? Then after $100, bro, people are paying $150, $130. Like, at this point, people are not even trying to hide what they're doing. They're trying to hyperinflate and initiate FOMO in the market. 107, 200. It's like, oh man. These people are just not even trying to hide it anymore. And by the way, these $44 listings are the Japanese version. By the way, I freaking hate that. Why can't TCGplayer just do it separately? Just separate categories. I mean, they've already started doing it, but it's still shit. The whole platform is still shit when it comes to this. Just do separate categories. It's not that freaking hard. Just don't allow people to list their goddamn Japanese cards on a freaking English listing. This is my second time crashing out about this. But then slowly, it goes up and up to the price that it's currently at, $230. Now, if you go to the Japanese listing, that also has been going insane. For example, it started off as a $13 card, and now it's, selling for $60, which again, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. But thankfully, people are actually starting to wake up about this, because I actually posted this on the Pokemon TCG subreddit. Actually, not to brag, but I got almost like 1,000 upvotes, Yeah, I got a lot of dopamine from that, let's just say. If you guys don't know the lore behind this meme, basically in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the main characters were going into this kingdom, and this kingdom were trying to hide a lot of bad stuff that was happening in it. And this lady dropped an iconic quote saying, "There are no wars in Ba Sing Se. There are no wars in this kingdom." And I feel like it's pretty relevant now, because I feel like a lot of people are trying to actively ignore the buyouts that are happening on TCGplayer, or at least some people are. I'm glad that this is at least getting some sort of attraction. People are slightly waking up about this. They understand what is going on. You guys don't understand. Back in the day when I was talking about, buyouts and market manipulation, there were so many people that were actively denying it, saying it's not happening. Like, oh my God, this is some, alien tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. This doesn't exist. You guys are just bitching about the prices. Stop doing that, etc. That was before the scalping of 2025 happened, before Prismatic. That was back in like 2023, 2024. And it's been a common occurrence in the Japanese market as well. A lot of full art trainer cards, Japanese, were getting hyperinflated. People were buying them out and selling them just for a profit. It was crazy times. And at first, when I heard about market manipulation, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is not a real thing. People are just speaking out of their ass. But after I did some more research about it, and after I started actually looking into it, I just realized how incredibly easy it is to artificially inflate the market. All you need to do is coordinate with a group of people and buy out a card on TCGplayer, and that initiates a bunch of artificial hype. Furthermore, maybe a lot of the people in that coordinated group actually have a large position of these cards, so they themselves list on TCGplayer after they just bought out the whole supply, and now they're the only listings on that platform who is selling the card. And what this does, it creates a domino effect where people also selling this card, and they're like, oh shit, I gotta match these, I gotta match these prices. So it creates a domino effect where, people that are not even involved in the buyout or market manipulation decide to match the prices. And it just creates a bigger and bigger problem, to a point where we have a situation like this, the $220 Seismitoad. But anyway, that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about. Make sure you guys get Card Prison binders, best binder in the world. It fits top loaded and regular sleeved cards. Very nice, luxurious. Leather also has metal zipper all throughout the whole entire thing. If you guys do want to check it out, link is in the description down below. Anyway, hope you guys have an amazing day. Hope you learned something new, and I'll see you later, weebs.
せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化